Sports, Richmond Brothers, a Cleveland institution, nationally famous for good clothing and furnishings, bring you Tom Manning with a complete roundup of the sports news from coast to coast.
Good evening, everybody. Well, here's the program you've all been waiting to hear. Tonight we're going to forego our usual format of sports from coast to coast because our guest is to be Hank Greenberg, general manager of the Cleveland Indians. You know, friends, some reliable philosopher once remarked, "It's money that makes the world go round," with that worried expression. Well, Richmond Brothers, insofar as they can, have been trying for many years to change that worried expression into a smile, at least where men's clothes are concerned. Now, the Richmond family way of doing this is simply to make better clothes cost less money. And while we're talking about money, let's nail down this one important point. Richmond Brothers do not make cheap clothes. True, their prices are extremely low, just $27.50, $34.50, and $39.50. But Richmond Brothers clothes are of such high quality that you'd expect to pay a lot more. So, if you want to dress well, but with economy, Richmond Brothers is the place for you. So, gentlemen, come in and see the new selections of fine all-wool suits, top coats, zip-line coats, and overcoats, and see that Richmond Brothers are your defense against high clothing prices. Gosh, I was mighty happy to have that zip-line coat of mine up there at that football game at Northwestern last Saturday. Well, friends, you know, in a majority of our great business enterprises, the general manager is the individual who fronts or becomes the spokesman for the organization. Now remember, that does not mean that he personally is responsible or even in favor of some actions. Tonight, Hank Greenberg, to me, one of the greatest ball players of all time and a truly fine gentleman, has been authorized by the Cleveland Baseball Company to visit with us. Hank Greenberg knows what is bothering you and me, assuming that as baseball fans we have a right to be bothered. And so, Hank Greenberg, we are honored to have you with us tonight.
Thank you very much, Tom, and I want to tell you how pleased I am to appear on your program here over station WTAM. Of course, I appreciate how many fans and many friends of the ball club are listening in tonight, not only in Cleveland, but throughout the entire state. After all, I have a warm spot in my heart for the out-of-town fans who inconvenience themselves in driving great distances to come down and watch the ball club throughout the season. And I know that they are just as vitally interested in the ball club as those people that reside here in Cleveland. Tom, there are many problems concerning a ball club that fans are not particularly interested in, and which require just as much thought and attention as the signing or acquiring of a ball player. We've been very, very busy attending to such things as the television contract for next year, the reorganization of our administrative setup, the possible effect of the military draft on our player personnel, how many players we'll have with us next year. After all, one particular key man could affect the entire pennant race. The farm clubs, scouting the system, as well as the current player draft, which will be conducted in Cincinnati on November the 17th. It takes a great deal of time and work to scour the lists of all the many ball players that are available in the hopes of picking up one sleeper for the minimum price of $10,000 that might come up here to Cleveland and help put us over next year. You recall the Giants many years ago got a player by the name of Hack Wilson, who was very helpful as the time went by. You've no doubt read, Tom, that I've been on a so-called vacation. Well, it's been a vacation in part. I spent some time with my family. But I want you to know, and I want the fans to know, that during this period I contacted many clubs in the East. And I feel I've laid the groundwork for possible future deals that might materialize momentarily or at the draft meetings or later at the winter meetings in St. Petersburg. Tom, we haven't been losing any time in trying to give the fans what they want, a pennant-winning team next year. As you know, last year we were a definite pennant threat. We looked as though we were going to come on in September and win the American League flag. I might add right now that perhaps that was the keenest disappointment I've suffered in my entire baseball career. And I feel and felt at this moment that a possible player deal, if it could be made and could be made right now and strike while the iron is hot, would take priority over the many, many other complex problems that we're confronted with. And that's why I hide myself off to New York to attempt to contact other clubs with a minimum of interference. I want to assure you, Tom, and all of the Cleveland Indian fans that we're not asleep down at the Wigwam, and we're working night and day to give the fans what they want. A pennant, and nothing short of that goal will be acceptable to me. I also want to state here and now that I have no financial interest in the Cleveland Indians. I am employed and was signed by Ellis Ryan. I have an obligation to him, but I also have a greater obligation to the fans. And I know that the one thing uppermost in Ellis's mind is to spare no expense to bring the fans a pennant, to repay them for the loyal support and encouragement they've given us last year. And that's what we are dedicating ourselves to. Now, as you know, and you no doubt have read, that Mr. Ryan has stated today that he plans to see Lou Boudreau in a few days. And at that time, an announcement will be forthcoming, and I am positive that the decision that will be reached will meet with the full approval of our fans. Now, I repeat, there are many things about the ball club that not only the fans are not interested in, but cannot be disclosed. It's that type of business. But we're not letting anybody down. And again, I want to say that we're not indecisive down at the ballpark office. We know where we're going, and we know what we're attempting to do. Incidentally, another thing I've been doing is studying the records of the Indians of 1950 and trying to ascertain why we didn't do better in the pennant race of last year. In fact, why we didn't win the pennant. And I've come up with very many interesting observations, but I don't think the time permits on this program right now. However, if I were to list our immediate needs, the things that stand out, the first priority would be a good left-hand pitcher. There are many available, but it would require a great many of our players to obtain such a pitcher. And naturally, you have to weigh the possible trading of one good man for another. Our second need would be reserve pitchers. And of course, we could always use a little more power at the plate, particularly from the right side of the home plate. I'm not trying to duck any issue, Tom. I don't think we ever have. We will make an announcement when we're ready to make one, and that will be very soon.
Well, Hank Greenberg, you almost stopped me in asking questions, but I know from the many letters that I've received, this is one of the few times, of course you can give me examples, we've all wondered why the delay in the meeting with Boudreau. Can we have another word on that? Why wait so long?
Well, my only explanation to you, Tom, is that in our judgment, and naturally we're entrusted with the running of the ball club, in our judgment, we deemed it advisable to wait until now.
May I say that I think that we have the confidence in you and Mr. Ryan on that statement, Mr. Greenberg, to go along with you. We most certainly know your business better than the fans. We only have love and admiration in our hearts for Boudreau. We can't help but remember that over 6.5 million people have gone through the turnstiles at that ballpark, which indicates that he's given us a colorful team. As I've said many times, Greenberg is the father of a large family. Greenberg is respected by everybody in Cleveland. Greenberg has brought more credit to Cleveland than any other individual ball player that I have ever known. So, Hank, those are our sentiments. And I want you to remember again, if I may be so bold as to represent a few friends or fans that are listening in, I think that your statement, Hank Greenberg, is good enough for us. And I'm pretty sure that I can assure you, after your statement, that you have let no grass grow under your feet, that you have given it plenty of thought, and you have your own reasons for delaying the meeting and the signing of Boudreaux. I can at least assure you, from my own humble opinion, that's good enough for me, and I hope that many of the fans out there will go along with us.
Well, I'm sure they will, Tom, and I'm sure that when they realize that we're giving it all of our time and attention, night and day. In fact, at this moment, we are still working, and I'm sure that they will appreciate that we're coming to our decisions to the best of our judgment, and after all, that's about all we can do.
Before you leave, could you tell us maybe you might sign Boudreaux tomorrow, Hank?
Well, Tom, it's unfortunate that people want to know answers before they're ready to be given. And I guess that's part of the baseball business. After all, this is still the football season. Tomorrow the elections are coming in. The people are interested in a great many other things besides baseball. And I think that it's sort of ludicrous to expect an answer to a question when it isn't forthcoming.
Well, I was just kidding, but there's one serious question. Hank, in your own opinion, and of course you can only give your own, do you think that that's a separate job, manager and player?
In my opinion, that is two separate jobs, yes. However, when you have a fellow like Lou, who's as great a player as he is, who can do the many things that he can, and he's an unusual young man, in his case, why being a player-manager is right down his alley.
Well, Hank, on this program, we never want to be exclusive on any stories. I sincerely hope that when the manager is finally signed, that all of the newspaper boys, the newsreels, and everybody will be called into your office, because after all, that's your business, getting publicity for the ball club. Those of us who love baseball, we want to see it in the newsreels, motion pictures. We want to see it in the front pages of the papers. So you don't have to call this program until after all the boys get a shot at it. But then there's only one little promise I'd like to have. When you finally sign your manager, Hank, I hope you'll come over to our Richmond Brothers program.
I'll be glad to do it, Tom. Always a pleasure to be with you on your program.
And incidentally, Hank, that's a mighty nice shirt you're wearing. I suppose that's from Gimbel's in New York, is that right?
Thanks for the plug.
Well, if you could listen in, well, you'd probably hear friend hubby in many a home saying, "Honey, when does that laundry come back?" Well, you know, Hank, you know what that means. The fella hasn't got enough shirts. Well, somebody should tell that gentleman about the fine white broadcloth shirts at Richmond Brothers for only $2.45. They probably cost a lot more at Gimbel's, Hank. Anyway, these are good shirts. They're full cut, beautifully tailored, of high count, white broadcloth, highly mercerized. And by the way, gentlemen, they'll keep their luster through countless washings. They'll keep their fit, too, because they're sanforized shrunk. They come with either widespread or regular fused collars, either French or barrel cuffs, also a full range of neck sizes and sleeve lengths. So fellas, come in and see what gilt-edged values Richmond Brothers white shirts really are at $2.45. Oh, yes, they're 3 shirts for $7. Before we say goodnight, Hank, I know I'm expressing your sentiments when I say, for many reasons, we're lucky to be Americans. One big reason is that we have the right to express our will at the polls of a free country. Ladies and gentlemen, your vote will keep our American rights. Vote any way you please, but vote tomorrow, November 7th. That's it for now. Thank you, Hank Greenberg. It was mighty nice of you. You proved again what a talented, accommodating gentleman you are. We of the Richmond family, and I'm sure those of our regular listening audience to these sport programs, appreciate your personal appearance on our program tonight. Our fingers are crossed for a pennant. We're all behind you. Thanks and good night.
Thank you, Tom. Good night to you.
The Richmond Brothers bring you Tom Manning twice each weekday, Monday through Saturday, at 6:25 and 11:05 p.m. over WTAM. There are Richmond stores in Cleveland, Lorraine, Akron, Canton, Youngstown, and Mansfield, Ohio, Newcastle, and Erie, Pennsylvania. 66 stores from Boston to Los Angeles. This is WTAM and WTAM-FM NBC in Cleveland.